Hi, welcome to Hello Darling from New York. And my very special guest today is an extraordinary woman, a woman who survived so many incredible journeys that most of the people would have it one in each lifetime. Laura had it all in her life so far. Laura is a multi-award winning writer, speaker, recipient of multiple awards, and I'm going now to welcome Laura. Laura, welcome to my show. Hello, darling.
Hello, darling. Thank you for having me, Barbara.
You're so welcome. Laura, you also a recipient of multiple awards. I would like you to mention the most important awards you received to date.
The most important ones was Women Changing the World. That one was earlier this year, and it was a bronze in literature. So that really meant a lot to me to receive that award. My book, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to My Life, has won multiple awards at this point. And as far as I'm concerned, each one of those are equally valuable, and I'm grateful for each and every one of those, and just, yeah, so grateful to have won any award with my book. But there's 4 at this point. So, and we have more that we're working on.
Beautiful. Laura, I read your book. Yes, and congratulations. Love the title. So, a funny thing happened on the way to my life. What inspired you? Which of the incidents that you experienced inspired you to write this book? And what's the mission?
So, for this book, I actually had the title years ago. Mm-hmm. And it was inspired by thinking of the idea that there should be one path that we take. We tell college-age children, this is the path that your life is going to take. And I was thinking about my life's path and realized it didn't take any certain path. It didn't take any path that I really expected it to take.
May I ask you, Laura, tell me a day when you won the lotto.
The lottery. Mm-hmm.
Tell me how it feels when you found out that all numbers are the lucky numbers.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Walk me step by step.
It was for New Year's. Of course, in my mind, why wouldn't you buy a ticket on New Year's? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Fresh year. And on New Year's Day, that evening of New Year's Day, I went out with my best friend to see a movie and dinner, and I was pregnant with my son, my second child. And my friend was telling me all the things she had planned for that year. She had quite, we've got this wedding or that, whatever, this trip planned. And I thought to myself, I don't really have anything planned other than having my baby. Mm-hmm. And she asked me, and I said, well, other than having this baby, I don't have a lot of plans this year.
Yeah.
Well, that changed.
Yeah.
Back then, because it was in 1994, we didn't have lottery every day and all the games. We had lottery twice a week. And it was printed in the paper. The numbers were printed in the paper. So it was a Sunday morning, the next morning after I had been with my friend. And we went out and ran some errands. And I came back and said, oh, I need to check my numbers. So I did. I opened the paper, and it was the weirdest thing because I saw all the numbers and I saw all the numbers.
Instantly.
Mm-hmm. And then I went back and said, wait a minute, and checked number by number. And I was like, I think I have a winning lottery ticket. And we also, it wasn't printed in the paper anywhere what the amount was. So I had no idea.
And it was how much?
$6.7 million.
US dollars.
US dollars. We went back to where I bought the ticket, to the store I bought it, said, what do I do with this ticket? You have to go to the lottery office tomorrow. It was when I lived in California. The lottery office was about maybe half hour, 40 minutes away.
So you couldn't check online like today?
Never. You can scan. There was no scan.
No.
No, it wasn't like now.
Yeah.
And so we went up first thing in the morning, drove up to the office. They brought us in and said, we've got to go check the machine. You know, they've got to make sure nobody tampered with it. It's going to be a while. Go to breakfast.
No rush.
Come back.
No rush to know how many millions you've
No,
got.
and the other idea was how much press do we have to have for this? Because we didn't want it.
Some people don't want to disclose because now, did you tell? Whom did you tell?
Well, we asked the lottery office, what do we need to do? And they said, you should have a press conference because they will find you. They will come looking for you if you don't. You might as well just have a press conference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it still like this today?
I don't know.
I would imagine you can have privacy if you choose
I think you can have more privacy. And we probably could have, but they
So you did have a press conference?
Yeah, a small press conference. And my daughter was there. She was 2.5. And there's front page of the local paper. I think we were in the LA Times, but more buried in the, you know, the local section of that. But we also, back then, we had phones on the wall.
Landlines. Yes.
I called the phone company and said, how quickly can we change our phone number? And they said, well, it'll be a couple of days. And I said, well, this is the situation. And they said, oh, we'll have it changed in the morning.
Laura, if I was to ask you which of the experience was the biggest cataclysm for you, going now in a summary, or all of them, if you would say, how Laura would be today if the things that happened to me didn't happen?
Each one of them had their place, obviously. But the one that was the biggest challenge was the story of discovering at 43 years old that my biological my father that I grew up with isn't my biological father. That, I would say, is the deepest story, and the one that potentially was the biggest twist in my path. When my parents got divorced, I was 9 years old, and I went to live with the man who I thought was my father.
Yeah.
My sister went to live with my mother. So it wasn't unexpected to me at that point. It wasn't unusual for me. I didn't think it was odd. I was close to him and spent a lot of time with him, being not a full tomboy, a little bit of a tomboy. But as I got older and told people that, they would say to me, that seems really odd that they would split you up like that in a divorce. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, it didn't seem that strange to me. Mm-hmm. But years later, I had an inkling, based on a conversation about blood type, that he wasn't actually my father. It took me 7 years to confirm that he wasn't.
Mm-hmm. May I ask, your mother obviously would know who was the real father. Was your resentment, for whatever reasons she didn't want to disclose? How did you distribute the resentment in your emotional journey, if I may ask?
Yes, I was definitely, I could actually say, angry.
Yeah.
At that point, angry with my mother, angry, resentful, felt betrayed. There were so many emotions. There's so many layers of emotions.
A lot of confrontation?
No.
No.
Not.
Why not?
I wrote a letter to my mom, mm-hmm. and said, basically, what the heck?
Yeah.
Because I was angry. And when my parents got divorced, my father I don't like using the word remarried, married again.
Yeah.
There were a lot of new rules. And I believe that children know the rules of the household by the time they're about 5 years old. So, but when you're 9 and somebody comes in and changes the rules, it's tricky. It's tricky to do that. So basically, by the time I got older, there were so many things looking back, knowing, well, wait a minute. I lived with this man who wasn't my father, his new wife, who I didn't fully appreciate.
Yeah.
And my mom knew that I wasn't completely happy in that situation.
May I ask you, women those days, mothers of those generations, were much less in self-control, not independent. they didn't have a voice like women have today. Do you think it could be one of the contributing factors that your own mom didn't voice out the real situation?
Possibly. She actually was a very, I guess I could say progressive. She was very career oriented. So there's more to the story that I don't want to talk about.
Of course.
And I believe that was her main catalyst of hiding her story.
Yes.
And I believe that any story that we tell, we can believe.
Yes.
And she told a story that she fully believed. And then everybody else believed it as well, that this person that she was married to was actually my father.
Just going forward, you are a mother of 2 grown-up children. How did this experience change you, or how does it modify you in your behavior towards your children, or did it?
My childhood in general modified my behavior as a mother.
Yeah.
Because I made decisions based on what I experienced, that I didn't want my children to experience some of those things.
Yes.
But I did tell them because I wanted them to know. I feel that honesty is the best policy as much as possible in those situations. So they knew very quickly after I dealt with some of my emotions. But it honestly took me years and layers
to process it.
Yeah, layers and onions peeling back.
And then your house burned out.
And my house burned out. So,
please tell me what happened. Please tell our viewers what happens when you experience it and you survive.
We were in New Jersey.
Yes.
It had only been 10 months since we bought what we considered our dream house on the water. Mm-hmm. And it was actually Halloween morning.
Wow.
So my husband woke up in the middle of the night. Because we lived on the water, the whole back of our house was windows. Our bedroom was windows. And we frequently would wake up to see different lights in the windows.
Especially on Halloween. Huh? Fireworks.
Yeah. So he woke up and saw a strange light and realized very quickly it was a flicker of a flame.
Wow.
And the back of the house was on fire. We believe that the lights in the ceiling lights, something in the wiring went off and caught the back of the house on fire. And by the time we realized it, because it was outside, no smoke alarms were going off. So he woke me up. I grabbed my phone from the side of the bed. Luckily, I called 911. As I was leaving our room, I could see also on the other side of the windows just the flames coming up from the outside. We had 3 dogs. One was a puppy that we had just adopted. She was in her crate near the back door where the fire was. And if you've ever had a puppy crate, a lot of times you have to argue with those to get them open.
Yeah.
And somehow he just got it open like now. And because I ran downstairs, I was on the phone. I could see the flames. I grabbed one of my older dogs. The puppy ran to me. I picked her up. Our oldest dog, my husband's favorite dog, ran back upstairs.
Oh my gosh.
And by then, the smoke alarms were going off and there was, a lot of noise. And my husband yelling to get out of the house. That dog was particularly sensitive to all of that.
Yes.
And that's why she thought she was running upstairs somewhere safe.
Yes.
He wasn't going to leave her.
Oh.
And he called to her, and he told me later that he took the second breath to call her again, and there was no more oxygen. So she luckily came out, and we all ran outside. But as far as, obviously we're still here. Somebody very quickly at that time, as the house was burning, I reached out to a coach I was supposed to start working with and said, I need to postpone. My house is burning.
Sorry, the lesson, what happened? The house is burning.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Everything has to change. And she said, pay attention to what remains. And that changed everything for me.
Which way? How?
My mindset. It changed my mindset. looking at the gratitude in the situation, trying to see where can you learn, where can you grow, and what opportunities came from that. Don't focus on what was lost. Focus on what you still have. And I don't believe we would have ever told a victim story in that anyway.
Yeah.
But that helped so much. And then we did. We survived. We went back and found our cat. My husband happened to be at the house the next day with the insurance adjuster, found our cat, and he had to rush her to the vet because he didn't know what kind of condition. She's a black cat. He thought she was potentially, maybe her paws were burnt, but she actually was absolutely fine. I absolutely feel like had we stayed in that house, some of the opportunities that came about afterwards wouldn't have come about. And for example, we didn't rebuild that house. We chose to buy another house in New Jersey. But right after we closed on that house, we also bought a house in Michigan, a second house. And that led to me having a pottery studio, art studio, retail space. And I had that for 5 years and fully enjoyed it. Last year, I chose to close that door. Mm-hmm. And the next door, the next chapter, literally, that opened was writing my book and becoming an author and contributing to the Heroes Roar series and so many other books, and the opportunities for travel, international travel, and being a part of the Moms Rising movie, which I never would have expected in a million years.
I heard you speaking at the beautiful event of your book launch, and you said, "My win confirm me, not change me." I want you to hear it from you very quickly before you go to the mission of your book. This is very beautiful, very powerful sentence.
The idea of it is that I was already happy where I was. I was already happy in my life. I had a nice house. I had a job that I liked. I had my daughter and was pregnant with. Life was good. And a few weeks before that, my dad had asked me, "Wouldn't you like to win the lotto?" And I said,
Wow.
I said, "Sure, but I'm happy where I am." And it was true. That was exactly the truth.
Maybe your dad had premonition.
Yeah. I believe that when you are already in a good place in your life, when you're already happy, when you're already on a better vibration, when you're not in a desperate state, mm-hmm. That's when the riches come, when the good things come, thinking that, oh, if I just win the lottery, then everything will fall into place in my life. Then my life will be good. No, it doesn't work that way.
What would you tell, if you look back today at Laura, who is 11, what would you tell Laura?
Many things are going to happen in your life. Your life isn't going to be the same. You're going to be fine. Just meet each challenge and grow from it. Look at the positive side of it as much as you can.
What's the main mission of your book with all this incredible experience, winning, losing, yes? What's your message? What's your mission in your book?
Well, it's exactly sort of what the title is. A funny thing happened on the way to my life. To look at all the twists and in your path, the unexpected things that happen, positive or maybe more challenging, and see them as opportunities for growth and learning, and to find the gratitude in each situation. That's the game changer.
And you also found that, and you designed cards, Queen Codes. Mm-hmm. Please tell where our viewers can find it and what do we do with it.
So I have a program called the Queen Code, which helps people to rewrite the stories that they might be telling themselves.
Wow.
It's a standalone deck, but it can also complement the program. So the idea of the deck is it's based on my framework, question, investigate, heal, and grow, and the archetypes of the queendom, to give you an affirmation, give you a journal prompt every day, to look at your stories and help you find a more positive mindset on a daily basis, if that's how you'd like to use them. They're on Amazon.
Yes.
In the U.S., they're on
Yes.
Amazon.
So not yet Australia.
Well, if you go to Perth
Yes.
and you go to the Dimmock store in Perth,
Of course.
you could potentially find a couple decks there.
Because you were recently on a book launch in Dimmock's in Hay Street
Yes.
in Perth, Western Australia. How did you like being in Australia? How was your visit?
I loved Australia. I loved it, especially Perth.
Yes.
It was beautiful, and I would love to visit that area again.
We hope you will be back. I actually should have brought you a boomerang and give it to you.
Yes.
So you will come back.
Yes.
And now you will be on the Times Square billboards with your book. How does it feel being that celebrated?
That's amazing. So this book we celebrated 1 year ago on
Yes.
the Times Square billboard, and so many things, so many opportunities have come from that.
Really.
This year we will be celebrating the Queen Code book that's
I'm
coming
looking
out.
so much forward. I'm still here celebrating other things as well, but congratulations. Laura, I give to my guest at the end of a show a metaphorical magic wand. Now, you received so much magic, but you still receive magic from me, and you have 2 wishes.
Oh boy.
One for the world and one for yourself. What's your wish for the world?
Higher vibration.
Yes.
For people to be able to move out of these stories that they tell themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you're in the story, it's so hard to move past it. But when you look at it from over here, sometimes it's very clear what story is being told. And I feel like if we could do that, there would be so much more community and you know, it sounds so cliche, but peace in the world.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
And people would be happier and more joyful.
And magic wand for you, your personal wish.
Oh boy.
Another lotto?
Well, you can always hope for another lotto. I wouldn't turn it down.
Laura, congratulations on your life achievements, on your surprises, on your beautiful creations and creativity. We're looking forward to next projects, and thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, darling.